Friends, let me talk to you again on a general subject, but a very important subject, namely the heart and the heart diseases. So it's a lengthy topic, and I'll be talking to you on this subject in about three or four parts. And in part one, we will only concentrate on the heart, and in the subsequent parts about the heart diseases. See, whatever is our knowledge, our background, our expertise, but still, I feel we should always have some basic information, basic knowledge on the functioning of our body. Knowledge on the human physiology, knowledge on the very important parts functioning in our body, their functioning, their importance. And if we go wrong or if there is any slight imbalance in our health, we should be able to guess what exactly or why exactly should that be, so that we can approach the right department, the right person, and we also don't fall victims in the hands of others. So that's why this exercise, and I am not a doctor, I am not a medical professional, and the information I am conveying it to you is only the information collected from some reliable sources, and you can also observe some difference in my pronunciation of the assent with regard to the medical terms, but the subject remains the same, the content remains the same, and we are only, I mean, be interested in learning what the subject is. See, let us try to understand what is this human heart, how it functions, how it is formed, and how important is that. See, the human heart, it's a marvelous organ. Its function is to move the living stream of blood through all parts of the body, not stopping even for a single moment. And although heart is a single organ, it consists of two pumps. So the left and the right, left pump and the right pump. Both the left and the right sides of the heart, they have got two chambers each. So each side of the heart is independent of the other as far as its functioning is concerned, but they act together in keeping the blood circulation normal. On the right side of the heart, it receives the impure blood and it propels it, it pushes it to the lungs. And there the blood drops its load of carbon dioxide. It receives a fresh supply of oxygen, and then it passes it to the left side of the heart. So the walls of the heart consists of very powerful muscle fibers that have the power to contract or beat rhythmically. So this constant rhythmic beating keeps the circulation going. So heart beats 1 lakh times a day, continuously pumping the blood through more than 60,000 miles of small blood vessels a day. Then how the heart beats. The motions of the heart are maintained by a specially designed structure known as the sinoatrial node or the SA node. So this very structure is capable of initiating a regular rhythm and transmitting these electrical impulses to all the muscle fibers of the heart. And this SA or the sinoatrial node, or what we call the pacemaker, it is located near the top of the heart and it operates like a small radio station, we can say. So flashing out its signals as the regular electric waves. So these are called the P waves, which are seen on the electrocardiogram, the ECG. And these P waves, they make the auricles, the left and the right upper chambers of the heart, they are called as the auricles. So these make the auricles contract to fill the ventricles, that is the lower chambers. So upper chambers, auricles. So it contracts and fills the ventricles, that is the lower chambers. So the lower down near the main walls of the heart, there is another small structure known as the AV node, or this is called the atrioventricular node, which picks up these radio signals and transmits them to the muscle cells of the ventricle. So these impulses, they are the QRS waves seen on the ECG. So almost instantly after the QRS wave, the ventricular walls, they contract, pumping the blood into the aorta and to all the arteries. So this is the pulse that we feel at our wrist. So then for a fraction of a second, the heart relaxes and fills with blood. So it is now ready for the next contraction of the beat. So this whole process is an amazing, very interesting, amazing engineering feat without any parallel, without any equal. Because of the simultaneous electric flash, all the cells of the heart muscles, they contract as one unit, although each cell is stimulated individually by the electric impulses coming from the above. So naturally, to maintain this activity, heart itself must be fed constantly with food and oxygen through blood. So blood supply to heart is maintained by two very important blood vessels, namely the coronary arteries. So as soon as the blood leaves the left side of the heart, it passes through a large artery known as the aorta, which is nearly 1 inch in diameter, going upward, again bending to the left, and again passing down behind the heart into the abdomen. So the first branches of the aorta, they are the left and the right coronary arteries. They are called the coronary arteries. And the other large branches, they supply blood to the head, neck, and other organs of the chest and the abdomen. And down near the pelvis, the aorta divides itself into two major vessels that supply the blood to the pelvic organs and the other lower organs. So this great network of vessels, so it is known as the arterial system of the body. So out in the tissues, the smaller arteries, they divide into hair-sized vessels called as the arterioles, which in turn divide itself into smaller vessels called as the capillaries. So it is through these small innumerable capillaries the exchange of oxygen and food substances that it takes place. So the waste products and the carbon dioxide from the tissues, they are picked up by the blood and brought back by the smaller veins. And like tributaries of a river, they join together, forming larger vessels until the blood reaches the two largest veins, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. And through them, it returns again to the right side of the heart. So the blood coming from the distant place of the body, it is dark red in color, which reaches the lungs. It gives up surplus amount of carbon dioxide. It takes fresh supply of oxygen, turn into the bright red, and again passes through the large pulmonary veins to the left auricle. When the mitral valve opens, so it passes into the left ventricle and immediately it is pumped through a aorta to the entire body. So the left ventricle, it beats about 70 times a minute throughout the lifetime, 70 to 75 times a minute. And then how the heart grows. So within the first weeks of After conception, a small tube begins to form in the embryo. A few embryonic blood cells, they also, also begins to float around this small vessel, and he is the beginning of the heart and the blood stream. So this little tube, it slowly expands, grows, and begins to twist in a certain way, forming one single chamber first. And within the enlarging area, then a septum or a dividing wall begins to grow, forming four chambers. Normally, there is no connection between the left and the right sides of the heart after birth, but the special doors or the valves, they open between the auricles and the ventricles on each side of the heart. So any failure in the development of septum or valves, it may lead to some form of the congenital heart disease, means disease by birth. And how is circulation done before birth? Say during the fetal life, there is no connection between the baby's blood stream and that of its mother. See, blood flowing in baby's heart is always its own and never his mother's, never its mother's. See, however, the baby's blood stream flows close to the mother's blood stream, which is again divided by a small, fine leaving membrane so that the baby can pick up the food material and the oxygen necessary for its growth. And that at the same time, it can also get rid of the waste material which the baby no longer needs. So the most critical time of a growth of a baby's heart is during the first 3 months of a pregnancy. So if at that time the baby's mother gets any virus infection such as, the measles, the German measles, etc., etc., the baby's heart, it may be deformed by some type of congenital heart disease. And heart diseases, of course, there are basically four types of heart diseases. They are the congenital heart diseases, means diseases coming by birth, then the rheumatic heart diseases, hypertensive heart diseases, and the coronary heart diseases. So these things we will study in detail later in the subsequent part. Thank you, friends.